Tarragon is playing the classic game of if I can't see you, you can't see me. He's pretending he's unaware of me calling him out over his remarks about John Wanoa and the king's flag. But ignorance isn't a shield from accountability. He thinks that if he acts oblivious, he can dodge accountability and carry on pretending to be the outstanding person he believes he is. But pretending doesn't make reality disappear. You can pretend all you want, but that doesn't change the facts. If you truly stand by your words, why the silence? Own up or admit you were wrong.
This is a Guerrilla Democracy News special report. The contradiction that is Tarragon, a crusader or a hypocrite. The self-appointed watchdog. Tarragon has positioned himself as a vigilant guardian of truth, a self-styled whistleblower determined to expose wrong'uns, fraudsters, scammers, and cheats within his community. In his conversations with figures like YouTube's Jupiter, he presents himself as a man driven by moral duty, a protector warning the public against deception. On the surface, this seems commendable. Vigilance against fraud is necessary, especially in an era where online scams proliferate. But what happens when the self-appointed watchdog becomes the very thing he claims to oppose? What happens when his accusations are not rooted in truth, but in personal vendettas, misinformation, or an unwillingness to admit error? This is the contradiction at the heart of Tarragon. The wrong'uns paradox, truth-teller or smear merchant. While Tarragon claims to expose fraud, there is mounting evidence that he has falsely branded honest individuals as scammers while shielding or even aligning with actual bad actors. His campaign against John Wanoa, the New Zealand-based entrepreneur behind the King's Flag and Moai Tidal Energy, is a prime example. Tarragon has repeatedly labeled Wanoa a scammer, a liar, and a thief. But those who know Wanoa, myself included, find these accusations not only baseless but malicious. John Wanoa is a man of integrity, an innovator with a bold vision for renewable energy through tidal turbines. His ambition to raise £25 million in capital was not evidence of fraud, but of legitimate entrepreneurial aspiration. So why does Tarragon persist in this narrative? The inconvenient truth, a sunk cost in slander. Reluctant as I am to ascribe motive, the evidence suggests that Tarragon is trapped in his own lie. Having invested so heavily in the falsehood that Wanoa is a fraudster, he cannot backtrack without facing severe reputational damage. Admitting error would require accountability, something Tarragon seems unwilling to embrace. Instead, he doubles down, ensuring that Wanoa's name remains tarnished. The consequences? A man's reputation, business prospects, and dreams have been systematically dismantled by online mob justice, led by Tarragon and his associates. The sabotage of Moai Tidal Energy, how far did it go? At the core of this saga is the Moai Tidal Energy share sale, which never had a chance to succeed. Why? Because Tarragon and his cohorts actively sabotaged it. In a capitalist economy, raising capital through share sales is not only legal but fundamental to innovation. Investors take risks, some ventures succeed, others fail. That is the nature of business. Yet Tarragon and his allies did not merely express skepticism, they orchestrated a campaign to destroy Wanoa's credibility before his project even began. The most damning revelation? John Wanoa was denied entry into the UK under highly suspicious circumstances. According to credible accounts, This was not the result of legal due process, but of back-channel interference, specifically, an alleged phone call from one Danny Jones to a contact at Heathrow Airport. If true, this constitutes underhanded, extrajudicial sabotage. Where were the fraud charges? The criminal complaints? There were none. Just a coordinated smear campaign masquerading as consumer protection. The bigger picture: who really benefits? This case raises disturbing questions. Who gains from destroying an entrepreneur's reputation? Is Tarragon truly a fraud exposer, or does he engage in selective targeting to bolster his own standing? Why do his followers accept his claims without scrutiny? The pattern is clear. Tarragon positions himself as a truth-teller while engaging in the very behavior he condemns. He brands honest men as fraudsters, protects actual wrongdoers, and refuses to correct his mistakes even when confronted with evidence. A call for accountability. If Den Tarragon genuinely cares about truth and justice, he must publicly retract his false claims against John Wanoa. Provide evidence for his accusations or admit they were baseless. Acknowledge the harm caused by his campaign of sabotage. Until then, his credibility remains in tatters. A man who claims to fight fraud cannot himself traffic in lies. The public deserves better. John Wanoa certainly did. Thank you for watching this special Guerrilla Democracy News report. Check out guerrillademocracy.blogspot.com for more news the mainstream media dare not report.
He rides on his high horse, a knight of the screen, pointing his finger at fraudsters unseen. Beware of the scammers, he shouts to the crowd, but look in the mirror, who's wearing the shroud? He calls out the liars, he calls out the cheats, yet the truth bends and breaks underneath his own feet. A man with a dream had his name dragged through dirt, while the real wolves in sheep's clothes just smirked. Oh Den, what a tangled web you weave, when you lie just to make folks believe. You play judge and jury, but where's the crime? Just wrecking good men to keep up the grift in time. And a vision, a tide in the wave. A man crossed the ocean, his future to save. But whispers turn thunder, a backroom call. No law, no trial, just a knife in the back, that's all. He's stealing your money, he cried in the dark. The ledger was empty, just spite for a mark. No fraud in the filings, no victims, no plea, just a dream left in tatters, drowned out at sea. Oh Den, what a tangled web you weave, when you lie just to make folks believe. You play judge and jury, but where's the crime? Just wrecking good men to keep up the grift in time. To the dreamers, the ones who still fight, while the armchair crusaders just lurk in the night. A lie travels faster, the truth always stays. One day even kings must face judgment day. So heed me this warning before you repeat the words of a man who can't stand his own heat. For the loudest accusers, so often it's true, are the ones with the most that they're hiding from you. So here's to the dreamers, the ones who still fight. A man crossed the ocean, his future to save. But whispers turn thunder, a backroom call. No law, no trial, just a knife in the back, that's all. So here's to the dreamers, the ones who still fight, while the armchair crusaders just lurk in the night. A lie travels faster, but truth always stays. One day even kings must face Judgment Day. So heed me this warning before you repeat the words of a man who can't stand his own heat. For the loudest accuser, so often it's true, are the ones with the most that they're hiding from you.
When hell freezes over, Satanist defends Den Tarragon. The digital landscape, already a breeding ground for the bizarre, has witnessed a truly unexpected alliance. YouTube provocateur Den Tarragon, currently embroiled in a contentious feud with Guerrilla Democracy News and facing scrutiny over his allegations against John Wanoa, has found an unlikely defender, an unnamed Satanist using the YouTube handle, the Order 666. Tarragon's accusations against Wanoa, claiming the latter is a scammer, have been met with skepticism and rebuttals, particularly from Guerrilla Democracy News, who point out the lack of concrete evidence, no convictions, no charges, supporting Tarragon's claims. In the midst of this escalating online drama, the Satanist's intervention has thrown fuel onto an already raging fire. The initial comment, "Whatever else, he is 100% correct about John Wanoa," is demonstrably false when held to the standard of legal proof. The statement, however, demonstrates a firm belief in Tarragon's claims. This belief is not shared by everyone. The subsequent comment, lauding Tarragon as one of the good guys, has amplified the shockwaves. The sheer incongruity of a Satanist publicly endorsing a figure like Tarragon has ignited a flurry of speculation and commentary across social media platforms. The irony, as pointed out by observers, is palpable. Tarragon has been vocal in his denial of any satanic presence or influence on YouTube, making this unexpected endorsement all the more perplexing. The implications are multifaceted. Shifting alliances. This incident underscores the fluid and often unpredictable nature of online alliances. In the digital arena, ideological boundaries can blur, and unexpected coalitions can form. The power of narrative. The Satanist's defense, regardless of its factual basis, highlights the power of narrative in shaping public perception. Even unsubstantiated claims, when amplified by certain voices, can gain traction and influence opinion. The question of credibility. This incident raises questions about the credibility of online voices and the challenge of discerning truth from falsehood in a landscape saturated with misinformation. The nature of Den Tarragon's accusers. Den Tarragon has been accused of being a provocateur and someone who makes content that is designed to get a reaction. The appearance of a Satanist supporting Den Tarragon may be seen by some as another example of Den Tarragon attracting controversy. The meaning of Satanist. The word Satanist has a wide range of meanings and is often misunderstood. The user who identified as a Satanist may simply be using the term to describe an anti-establishment or contrarian viewpoint. The online community is now left to grapple with these questions and the broader implications of this bizarre development. The incident serves as a stark reminder of the unpredictable and often bewildering nature of online discourse, where alliances can shift, narratives can clash, and the lines between reality and fiction can become increasingly blurred. As the saga unfolds, one thing is certain. The online world will continue to watch, speculate, and dissect this unexpected alliance, seeking to unravel the motivations and implications behind this truly surreal turn of events.
Read Guerrilla Democracy News. For news the mainstream media dare not report. News from across the galaxy. News which will blow your mind.
Out in Tarragon, where do I begin? You spin your tales, but you just can't win. A mouth that moves with nothing to say. Just empty words that fade away. You hide in shadows, you duck and weave. No truth to offer, no facts to believe. Oh, Den Tarragon, it's such a shame. You spew your lies, you are so lame. No accountability, no defense. You say what you want with no evidence. You won't talk, but yet you walk. defend, you just pretend. Shame on you then, it's all a game. A hollow voice with a hollow name. You are nothing more than a tool, used by fools, a useful idiot. Through and through they pull your strings, but all you are is noise that rings. One day the truth will call your name, and all your lies won't hide the shame. Oh, then Tarragon, the clock won't stop. Your house of cards is bound to drop. You won't talk, but yet you walk. You don't defend, you just pretend. No accountability, no defense. You say what you want with no evidence. You won't talk, but yet you walk. You don't defend, you just pretend.
We always need something to watch. Now, talking about something to watch, I was watching a bit of Jupiter today when she was laying into real name Richard Collins, aka Den Tarragon, and it was good. It was good to see Den Tarragon called out. But the point I want to make just quickly on that is that how many people in the audience believed his bullshit about John Wanoa and the King's Flag scam, and that's what's frustrating for me. It's all very well years down the road saying, oh yeah, he's a cunt, he's a wanker, he's a fucking bish bash bosh up your dosh kind of stuff. But still, it doesn't take away the fact that you lot ran with him and his team when they said John Wanoa was a scammer, and people still believe that. And that is what's so frustrating for me. It's okay years down the road realising what people are, but you have to acknowledge, in that case, you have to bite the bullet and apologise to all those people that they called out as wrong-uns and which you followed and acted upon. You getting my point? Because 3-4 years ago, Den Tarragon was telling you lot that John Wanoa and everyone associated with John Wanoa were scammers. And you lot went along with it. Now, 4 years on, you all realise what a discredited individual Den Tarragon is. But I don't see anyone else saying, look, yeah, sorry that what I done towards John Wanoa. You know, bang out of order. I just took all my info from Den Tarragon. And that's all I wanted to say on that matter.
When Kayleigh first came away from the scam, the King's Flag fraud, which was pushed and propagated on Wake Up UK, which was trying to blag the veterans into believing that you sign this bit of bullshit paperwork, buy some bullshit shares, and all of a sudden you can go and overthrow Parliament and everything will be fucking happy days. Now, when Kayleigh, like many others that came away from that shit fucking bullshit cult or whatever, bullshit scam, when Kayleigh came away from that, like many other people, I said, you know, that's fine, you came away from it like other people, you can have your opportunity to speak on Rude Awakening and whatever, it's not an issue. Myself, Kayleigh, Gary Clark, Nathan Curtin, I've actually had decent discussions with Kayleigh, what I've described on titles of Patriot discussion or whatever, discussing the lawful routes, the lawful ways around the problems that we have seen evolve or whatever, real life issues, real life problems which everybody is fucking affected by, etc. So for me it's a mad one, do you know what I mean? When she's came away from all that or whatever, I've given her ample opportunity, plenty of opportunity, I've done lives with all this, that and the other, Mainly on the simple premise that when Kayleigh did what other people had done and come away from it, people like Paris, etc., Paris was given an opportunity. Do you know what I mean? Everybody was. Now, when it come down to Kayleigh, I was told by AJ, I was told by Danny Jones, I was told by a few people around that scenario at the time or whatever, that Kayleigh weren't to be given that chance, Kayleigh weren't to be given fucking opportunity, whatever. If anything, just leave her alone. Like, leave her to it, ignore her, blah, blah, blah. Now, for me, once you've given that opportunity to everybody else, then you have to include Kayleigh. It's simple as that. And I did do. So, honestly, Matt, it's that long ago behind. It's no longer relevant in my mind.
In that case, stop calling it a scam then, if it's irrelevant.
No, I can't say it wasn't, because I'm 100% sure that it was.
Because you've invested so much.
No.
You've invested your credibility on it being a scam. You used it to gain credibility within the the community.
Right,
look at me.
None of it was
calling out a scam.
None of it was right, Matt. None of it was my evidence. I've just literally gone over all the evidence, both sides, this, that, and the other.
So let's get your evidence at the moment is a dodgy slip, right? Going into court, which is okay. I think it's by. And then Jason with his certificate, and you allege that John Wanoa was trying to get the veterans to do something that was stupid. So on those 3 counts, you're calling it a scam? No,
on the lie as well. So they've been in court.
On the lie of the slip at the start.
Yeah.
So on three of those very, very tedious, or
no, that's as good as
I think that you're clutching at straws there, because for me, a scam is a complaint. You need a complainant, you need a police report, and you need a conviction or a judgment made by the FSA, or the Serious Fraud Squad. That's how I would define a scam.
So you could accept that all them things happened, and you still wouldn't think
that court thing, I think, is by the by. So that's nothing. This certificate, I need to see it, so that's nothing. And I know for a fact we weren't asking the veterans to storm Parliament. So I think you've got no case.
But that's just because you've not seen the evidence, Matt.
Will be admissible in a court of law.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's just because you've not seen the evidence, and that's fine. But other people have seen it.
I think I may have seen it at the time. I think I may have, watched this, and I just dismissed it there and then. So I am familiar with you putting a lot of stuff out at that time, which I just thought, well, it's just rubbish.
Do you not think it's confirmation bias, though, Matt? Really?
No, not at all, because I've been a military policeman, so I know I've got some experience of the law.
Have you genuinely, or?
Fucking hell.
No, you can say whatever you want. I'm just asking you a question, isn't it? General question.
Well, I put it out that I'm an ex-war military policeman. You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so, okay, I'm just going to leave it at that. It ain't my fault if you don't believe it. But I've got more experience than you.
Yeah, a lot of them seem to have come from that King's Flag cult, which I will say it's a cult, because that's how they act about it. I mean, you've still got Matt Taylor that thinks John Wanoa is the genuine king of the country.
I do not, and nor have I ever believed John Wanoa is the genuine king of the country. To correct Den Tarragon, I actually believe John Wanoa would make a perfect monarch to replace the then Queen Elizabeth II, and now, consequently, King Charles III. John Wanoa described himself as the surrogate King William IV monarch, and I'm happy to call him that, if that's what he wants to be called. This is a million miles from believing John Wanoa is the genuine king of the country, as Den Tarragon falsely accused me of believing.
If you remember, Jason Warr was having loads of people. I don't know who
Jason Warr is.
Jason Warr is part of your group. He's a big part of your group.
I don't know who Jason Warr is, sorry. So
I think he was originally a Pendragon. Because they was using that like, we're pulling people from your group. So,
So,
and then he
Jason,
thought he was clever saying, "Oh, it's not a
Jason Warr
scam. Look, here's me." No, he was talking to someone in the Dragons, and he said, "Oh, it's not a scam. Look, here's my certificate of whatever I bought shares in it or whatever." So it was actually Jason Warr, which proved it was a scam, which was in your group. So that's why he was laughing. He's like, he thinks he's being clever, proving that
I'll be interested to see what document he was actually showing.
Yeah.
It could have been a reservation for a share.
No.
But it certainly wasn't a share because the company wasn't even set up. It
That was when Andy Devine started saying it's donations now. For all that time previous, 9 months before that, it was a share, and then it changed to donation.
How can it be a share when the company
exactly
bank account wasn't even set up? So whatever Jason has got, it was certainly not a share. It may be a placeholder for a share. It may be saying, "We've got your £25."
No,
and here's
it handed money over and received. It handed money over and received a share certificate.
A lot of people handed donations over.
No, it weren't donation.
A lot of. Well, hang on a sec. Are you denying people handed donations over?
Ladies and gentlemen, the case of Den Tarragon versus John Wanoa is now concluded, and the verdict is clear. Tarragon has conceded defeat. For years, he claimed John Wanoa was a scammer, that the Moai Power House share sale was a con. His key evidence? That Jason Warr had bought shares and sent money to Wanoa. But when Jason Warr himself confirmed he never bought shares and never sent money, Tarragon's entire case collapsed. And how did Den respond? Not with proof, not with evidence, not even with an argument, just one weak line. Have it your way, Matt. That's not a rebuttal. That's not confidence. That's a concession. That's surrender. Let's be clear. Den Tarragon has no verifiable evidence to back up his accusations. His claims about John Wanoa being a scammer are false. His example of Jason where sending money is false. And his threats and bluster are nothing more than a smokescreen. This is a classic playbook of someone losing an argument, bold claims, shifting goalposts, and when cornered, retreat. The truth stands tall. The lies fall away. The verdict is in. Case closed.